Hi, welcome. If I did a show where you analyze and solve pure kerfuffle from memory, world not beyond.
I like how you guys like. I thought you were
After,
trying to go for Kofefe.
oh, it's a little bit of a
Hey, we don't do
Popeye.
topical. Don't get topical.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know.
It's gonna be a Popeye homage, not Popeye, the dog
The
Popeye,
dog.
but
My muscles.
I'm Alexio, and joining as always, Kid Native Bloody Elbow and Eugene Robinson from Aussie.com and author of Fight Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About Ass Kicking. We're afraid you get your ass kicked for asking. Collectively, MMA Pincholes.
Muchos!
Eugene,
Sir.
I was going to say Pinchole number one. You're the UFC.
Sir.
Ronda Rousey took her talents to WWE, live and in public, if you will, during a time when you are both looking for new television deals. How do you spin their gain from your prior investment?
As the UFC, how do I spin WWE's gain
Yeah.
per my investment?
How do you know? Ronda Rousey was someone that you poured a lot of
Oh, come
promotion
on,
into.
come on. There's an apple cart and being born yesterday. You can't honestly believe that the bald one in the UFC hasn't attached a portion of those earnings, that they don't have points on her, that she's still, is she not under contract? I don't know. Even if she's not under a fight contract, you're just not going to go wandering hither and yon. I mean, that's what the whole fucking kerfuffle was about a few years ago with the EA, the video games, and what I raised on the Show Stomper, when they were talking about turnkey publishing, and we went and I pitched the bald one on the UFC publication at the behest of Future Publishing. It's like, yeah, great. Where's my $3 million check? Nothing gets you nothing. You're not just skipping off going to work for somebody across town and expect that a deal is not going to be made. That's the best place for her to be. Vince McMahon has got the XFL to think about. And realistically, what do you think is better for the prospect of continuing to make cash? Her getting badly brain damagedly beaten in the octagon, or her doing fake wrestling that doesn't require too many acting chops? It's a smart move, and you're going to make more money on points on her now in the WWE than you would have any single other venture that she would have found herself facing outside of maybe film, and she's not good enough for that.
Man. How about you, Cheery Nate?
Sadly, I'm afraid she's probably not good enough for wrestling either, because her acting chops are dismal and utterly lacking. We'll see if she can sell a match in the cage. I've got my doubts about that as well. But so far, the promos she did a few months ago was cringeworthy, and I'm not optimistic. But they are double dipping, and I'm ashamed of Eugene for not remembering this. But
I am ashamed of myself.
You're not capable of shame. Since when are you capable of shame? I mean, look at the shirt you're wearing. Okay.
It's pool chalk. It's a pool chalk shirt.
Ah, very classy. Very classy. You carved it right out of the felt of the pool table. All right. So what he missed was, and this is key, who's Ronda Rousey's manager? Do you remember this little nugget?
No.
WME. Used to be, and I assume they still are. So I believe the bread is buttered on both sides, and they're getting their coming and going. So, yeah, I mean,
which is kind of what I said. If you would have noticed,
except for that one key detail. The one key detail.
That's true.
Yes, yes. The little thing known as a written contract. Yeah. That's the key. That's the key. And so, yeah, I mean, they squeezed Ronda like a washcloth through a hand dryer and got all the MMA out of her there was to be had. So now this is...
Forced her to brain freeze like Joanna.
Yes. And she can't act. Her movie career was dismal. And it was the whole Ronda Rousey thing, though, was all built on this belief that she was really tough. And she was really tough, but she was also flawed and limited. And once that was exposed, man, the whole thing fell apart. So I'm very curious to see how she does in WWE. I'm not curious enough to watch that crap, Don't get me wrong, but I will be keeping up with the articles about it and the summaries and maybe some little clips and GIFs that show up on the interwebs. So yeah, I think.
Well,
What?
I think what's mind blowing about this, I don't think that I've ever met or encountered or been exposed to a Olympian who is so stay puff marshmallowy. I mean, I thought you to dig down deep and grit, and who's that guy Roddy Ferguson, who I interviewed at one point on the old Knuckle Up, and dude was sleeping in his car, sleeping on the floor. There was grit. Or I did an article on Alexander Carolyn, and these, I lost. Rulon Gardner even lost, like a Susan Lucci, and then he dug down deep, came back, and won. I mean, I thought that was supposed to be part of the landscape. I don't understand this, the sobbing years later. Look, what I do understand, my first MMA match, I got knocked the fuck out, and somebody videotaped it, and they said, "Here, Eugene, I think you might want these. These are a collection of your MMA fights in this fight club in San Francisco." And there are other ones, the ones where I was winning, but the first one is it's in chronological order. It's the one I've never been able to watch it because I can't watch the first one. It feels cheesy to me to fast forward through the first one, and so I've never watched any of them, even the wins. I understand that, but this is like, if I had made money off of it, I'd be sitting on my couch laughing about that. I mean,
well, she had the grit, though. That's the thing. The build up before going to the Olympics. If you hear the story about, like, the falling out with her mother, and like having to dig deep, and then realizing she's going to do the training on her own and trying to figure it out. I mean, she did. So it is strange in the sense it's almost like the grit train ended once the gravy train began.
Yeah. There is something about huge amounts of cash, the discombobulating effects of huge amounts of cash that might fuck up a fighter. I mean,
No. I've got a better theory.
Go ahead.
Imposter syndrome. Rousey had imposter syndrome, where she felt like she was not worthy of the accolades and the admiration, and that she knew she was not a female Mike Tyson, and that she knew the holes in her game. And she just couldn't get past it. And once she lost to Holly Holm and then again to Nunez, that confirmed her self-doubt and negative self-image.
Or you can blame Travis Brown.
Travis,
before that dude came in.
Travis Brown is also, I mean, what is the hit the skids as well. I mean, he's got lost of his 4 of his last 5. I can't remember the last time he won. And not only has he been losing, he comes into the cage and leaves the cage like a guy, one, who expects to lose, coming into the cage, leaving the cage like a guy who doesn't care that he lost. Now, love is one thing. I love as much as anybody else, but you got to eat, and that was his job. They weren't giving him movie roles, so I don't understand the island calm about a career that's swirling down the toilet. And I don't think I'm being an alarmist about this. If you are in your 30s and you are seeing a career come to an end, you damn sure better have another career lined up, unless you're McNuggets, in which case you can keep dancing on tables in Ibiza with a cardboard cutout of your face on your face.
You're just not gonna let that go, are you, Eugene?
No, because I
love hearing it each time. Just the build up. Wait for the day where he leaves off the face on your face, because that's what the.
Hey man, I've been similarly bent, but you know how much it takes to get me on top of a table, and then once on top of the table, dancing on the table,
$20.
And then I can't imagine. Probably for 10. Are you kidding? 10. And then I can't imagine the kind of act of psychic, legerdemain that would have to add before I go, oh man, this is gonna be so deeply meta. And then I take a picture of my face and put it on my face in Ibiza. I don't know. The drugs that they invent to make that happen, I have yet to encounter.
Well, Nate, it's your turn to be the UFC. What message are you sending by blowing your load and gumming up your divisions with champion versus champion fights.
Going long, hard, and deep as you blow the load of your divisions. It sounds like the intro to a Russ Meyer movie.
Yeah, I mean they got nothing. They're laying all their cards out on the table and just desperate. They're beside themselves that they have a tentpole event to hang to build the rest of the year around, even though they're burning up not 3 but 6 division titles in one night, and none of these
night.
Yeah, this is like the Crazy Eddie refrigerator sale of all time. And none of these fights lead to anything. I mean, sure, the winner's going to have some shine in each of these, but people are going to be all, jacking around with fighters' weights messes them up long term. Half of your champs are going to come out losers. This is a obvious patent desperation move, and it's a sad thing to see. It's a sad, sad thing to see.
Well, hold on. Now, I was talking too hard about the long and deep that I missed actually the premise. I was thinking about 70s porn and whatever happened to Lisa DeLue and the little Oral Annie, and then I got
and
lost.
Also your nickname, man. I thought your nickname for MMA was going to be the Load, Eugene the Load Robinson.
It still is. It still is.
Classy.
So Eugene, it's what message are you sending by? You're the UFC. What message are you sending by blowing your load and gumming up your divisions with champion versus champion fights?
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with Kid Nate, but I think there's a proviso, and that somebody pointed out to me. I dig out his text or his tweet or whatever the hell it was that he sent me, and I think it was Matty G who said, don't underestimate the power of desperation. Some of the biggest grossing fights in boxing were desperation moves by a Bob Arum or Don King. Put together some fights, what the hell? Okay, we're going to go to Manila. We're going to, I don't know, or the Rumble in the Jungle. We can get cheap seats. We can fill a stadium with, and then we can sell the rights for the network. I mean, desperation breeds sometimes genius. It's us who are sitting very close to the cage at this point who recognize the smell for what it is, stink. But they are driven at this point. But I don't really know how desperate a guy can be who's building 4 mansions around his mansion, or I guess that's not. He's tearing down the houses around his mansion. How desperate could that guy be? I mean, the most tragic part of his day has got to be marble or granite or marble. Oh my God, I can't decide. I mean, I don't know. And the $4,000, can we talk about that a bit? The $4,000 fucking tip he left the waiter? Are you kidding me? Do you know what the optics on that are? Did you think you were going to come? I mean, it shows that either your instincts are badly off or you're getting some Tito Ortiz-esque advice. But did you think that anybody at all would look at that and feel happy? Specifically, the 375 fighters on your roster going to feel like, man, guy's acting like he's skint all the time. He's dropping 4 G's on somebody who brought him cake. Come on.
Versus the guy who brought him knockouts on a pay-per-view.
Right. So, I'll read to you a text that just came in. This is very great. 3 of your champs will come out losers, but at least people will care about 3 of your champs, which is 3 more than they care about now.
Well, maybe what they can do is they can. I guess there are 2 ways they can, build up off this. One is they can have the fighters from each division like rooting for their champ, and when their champ loses, gets knocked out, it's like, man. Or we can have the fall pay-per-view could be the interim champions from each division fighting the
I think we're going to have to do something where we all kind of sit down at the table and agree that the emperor has got no clothes on, and that this is not that these problems are not going to be shellacked over by just mouthing words about 2018 Brock Lesnar, Johnny Boney Joni, McNuggets, Magic, and it's gonna fucking happen. No way. I think the time beyond, we should panic. No, we're panicking, or some of us are past panicking because, from the start, I see the end. I'm just relaxing now into the inevitable crash. I don't see many good things coming out of this. I hate to be a Debbie Downer on this, but Jesus Christ, it doesn't. I'm not getting signs or signals that anybody is thinking right about this stuff.
But Nate, are you getting signals for a heel turn?
I got a signal for a heel turn Saturday night on Fox because they booked and aired the most piece of shit, miserable, no sex appeal, no ratings getting card possible. I mean, Jacare and Brunson, fine fight, but we knew what was going to happen. I called it. One-sided.
Your picks were horrible, by the way.
My picks were genius. I nailed that pick. I nailed
Bobby
that
Green.
pick.
Bobby Green beat the fuck out of Eric Koch, didn't he?
Hey, you know, I was giving you that one. I was giving you that one. Yeah, you see, you got to bring up. This is a heel. This is a heel turn. Here's my heel turn. Look at this monomaniac I had to put up with. No, the fight I called was Jacare Brunson, and the other thing I called was that the ratings were going to be shit on this card because it was a garbage card for Fox. It's a fine card for Fox Sports.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But it was a terrible, dismal card for Fox. I mean, a co-main of two journeymen that you have no plans for. What are they doing? There's such a thing as opportunity cost. It hasn't been that long ago that Strikeforce Nashville on CBS was considered a disastrous ratings bomb that got MMA taken off of CBS for getting twice as many viewers as this. This is no way to negotiate a new contract. This is just feebleness. And instead of course correcting and paring back their offering till they have some quality, they're hell bent on watering it down even more. It's almost like, imagine a world where you couldn't trust drug dealers. That's what this is like. You can't trust the people who have a monopoly on the sport that we love.
Man, so Eugene, who's in your Lost Battalion?
We got so many. Because you'll find if you have a shit party, the thing that you can reasonably expect post facto to a shit party is that everybody will smell like shit. So at the very least, this Saturday, I have to talk about me picking Andre Touchy-Feely and Kid Nate picking Dennis Bermudez.
Nobody cares about picks like that. Nobody cared about that fight in the first place.
Nobody cares.
Baby.
You know what's special about that fight? That fight was an event horizon, right? If I mention to you Dennis Bermudez in 3 months' time, you're gonna be, who? No, Dennis Bermudez. He last fight was Andre Feely. He got his ass kicked, but man, I don't remember him. No, don't you remember? He's a pretty tough. No, he's done. He is done. That's not Lost Battalion. That's not a guy who even thinks he knows he's done. We know he's done. Dun, 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 dun. If anybody's in a Lost Battalion, it might be a Feely who, as a result of the win, is high on fumes that might make a man make bad decisions, but he has kept his mouth shut. He versus a Bobby Green who actually won the fight, but his pre-fight commentary was fucking misty as shit. You know, I'm gonna go when I do it. Stop it. You're not gonna do shit. But he did win the fight at this point. What effectively doing what to Eric Koch? Eric Koch, I'm sorry, dark starred. I'm gonna have to go with my man Davey. I don't see any. He's a name that you know, but you will. The likelihood of him returning very low, very low. And then of course we go down the list. Brunson, deep in the mist, almost never to return, which would make him an event horizon. But he is in the mist because I don't know what he was thinking bringing his whole family to the fight. Did you see this? Did you peep that? That's since Mark Coleman, I thought that was well understood. You do not do that. What kind of signal were you trying to send? You know what? I mean, how reckless can you get? Yeah, no. I barely wanted my kids to come watch me compete. No. So there you go. There's your entry. And I have to say, I mean, it seems mean and hard-hearted and mean-spirited, but
Isn't that a core brand value? That's one of your core brand values.
It is. Let's just say Ronda. Right. I mean, we predicting her entry into the Lost Battalion already, or have maybe she have placed her in it only to remove her in it when it was like, well, you can't put somebody in who is not trying to get out. They're already in. So, but I think in this instance, this tried to get a paycheck going with WWE. It watching the promos just made me feel icky inside. It didn't make me feel good. I mean, you don't people. Oh, you're being kind of harsh on her. Really? Have you ever tried to have somebody who can't sing? Now imagine they were trying to do that for a living, right? I don't mean Henry Rollins can't sing, where the guy can get up on stage behind a microphone and emote and do something, make vocal noises. I mean somebody who gets up and tries to sing non-ironically, like the national anthem, and they can't do it. Pain. Unless you're that woman they made the movie about with Meryl Streep about Florence with the rich woman who everybody loved because she was so terrible. Generally, it's a miserable thing to watch, and I feel like, thank God I'm not into WWE because it would be painful to see.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Well, hold on. There's one. Here's a high note. One possible high note. The high note here is that her involvement with WWE might create an avenue by which her husband could put on some corpse paint and get into WWE, and Travis Brown would be completely fucking credible as a fake pro wrestler.
Man, that is depressing, man.
No, come on. That was supposed to be upbeat. I'm trying to elevate here. She stays at home and, putters around the garden or does whatever she does, with tater tots or whatever she spends her time
Guys
doing.
have the job to him. I mean, damn. Jobbing to Travis Brown tonight. Like, god damn.
Travis Brown, the mortician. Right? There's a guy named the mortician already, right? The forensic Undertaker, the forensic scientist, the special crimes division. Some crap like that, I mean, that's the only.
No, he's gonna come in as a mixed martial artist. That's what it is. It's gonna be his gimmick,
Yeah.
Lord. Thanks for joining us. Follow us on Twitter, Eugene S. Robinson, Alexio, the Kid Nate, Facebook, MMA Puncholes. Please give us a thumbs up.
Yes! Thumbs up right there.
Leave comments, YouTube, MMANation.com, YouTube, MMA Nation, iTunes, visit Bloody Elbow. Buy the 7 Secret Sources of Inspiration. By Axel Simpback, Duke, where fine music is sold. And me, find the show, Eugene.
Right below, there's a link. You're going to click on that link, and that will get you to the show. We will be there after you probably because we have to log out and log back in. But right below, that's a link. So when this stops, we're going to log back in, and in 3 minutes, we will be on the other show. So for the second half of this show, another show, a new show, we'll be there.
That's right. It's like the Phoenix and shit. We'll be back next week, another installment of If I Did It, and we don't know what we're going to be talking about yet because of pure mistakes have yet to be made.